Welcome to Playing with Junk, and I have a new toy. It's an EMC VPLEX system, but only the controllers. There are no discs in these racks. Discs are in a separate rack or multiple racks maybe. Well, they stood in our basement and my boss told me that I should have a look at it, if we can use some parts and get rid of the rest. EMC VPLEX was introduced in 2010, the first models, and well, I don't know from which year this here is. We will see. Maybe there is a manufacturing date. On the outside we have a lot of panels. We have an extra cosmetic panel, a lot of air between the panels or behind the panels, mirror-like finish. You can see my camera. It has an illumination. There is a cable here. There is also some hidden compartment that looks like an USB plug. There is a second USB. Okay, maybe they're using USB connectors to power the LEDs. Let's have a look inside. Yeah, it's pretty full. We have 4 individual controllers. It's 2 controllers here are in a cluster, then there is a second set of 2 controllers, and we have exactly the same arrangement here in the second cabinet. The purpose of that is you have one cabinet in one place, the other cabinet in another room, for example, or in another building. So in case one building burns down, you still have your data. Of course, the discs are also on both locations. It looks like this is a system that EMC built in the factory, because there is a sticker, authorized personnel only. So they installed all the parts inside the cabinet. They put the sticker around, and it seems that nobody has ever removed that. So it looks pretty clean. They even installed little protection caps for the unused power sockets. And there is our USB power supply for the front, and it has a custom made case, special to plug into this main socket here, and it has this knob that will be latched into this holder so that it cannot fall out. You know what? I think I will power that up and see how it looks when the lights are on. Yeah, it looks pretty nice. It's this blue strip here, and they also have illumination down here that makes a blue appearance of the entire rack. Let me see what's behind. Well, not much. Blue LEDs. And it seems nobody has ever removed that protection sheet here. Looks much better now. Looks very expensive. I think I will keep one of these panels and attach it to my computer, maybe to the wall behind the computer. That will certainly look great. Okay, what else do we have? Okay, so let's go through the rack. So this is the first, well, I call it rate controller. They call these things directors. There is a director A and a director B. So even this box is redundant. We have a battery unit that powers the rate controllers. Then there is a second rate controller with a second battery unit. EMC does not use batteries inside the controller. For cache data, they power the entire controller and some of the disks that are necessary for the system to run. Not all the disks, but some. That's the reason why they have such a big, well, it's something like an UPS. Then we have fiber channel switches, where all the fiber channels come together, where all the system, the hosts will be attached to, probably on the unused ports here. There's a second one. There is a small UPS, another small UPS, probably for, yes, it's connected to the switch, because the whole system wouldn't work if the switch has no power, in case of a power failure. There is a small server, a management server. We will see what's inside there. I think that's nothing special, just a small Intel Pentium server. Then number 3, director module, another battery, number 4, another battery, and that's about it. We have a lot of fiber channels. Okay, that's the fiber channel. Some of them will go to the disks and some of them, let me see, fiber B, local communication, management A, management B. So some of these ports go to the disk, some of the ports go to the servers, and I don't know if they are going, where are these going? That's just the interconnection between the racks and between all these fiber channel controllers. Okay, I don't want to go too much into detail. There is a lot of documentation about these systems. You can download them, you can watch them on EMC website. That's this company here. EMC that's the letters of the founding fathers of this company. There was a Mr. E, a Mr. M, and 2 Mr. C's. That's why we have the 2 here. And it comes handy because it looks like the famous formula from Albert Einstein. Yeah, let's take out some stuff. It already looks a bit different, and you may say that I'm crazy, but the best thing in this old EMC, or well, old, couple of years old EMC racks are these cable ties, these Velcro ties. They are used everywhere, on all places, all through all the cabinets, and they can be reused very well. So I will remove them because I don't really need the cables. Maybe I will remove the fiber cables, but I already have a big box full of these, so I don't really have to keep them. We will see. And that's all the cable ties, the Velcro ties from one rack alone. So I think that's enough to make nice cable looms in one or two offices. Well, it's sad, but there is a point where in time where the accessories and the packaging is more worth than the actual parts inside, because nobody buys an old storage product like this. Even the rack cannot be used because they all the EMC racks have round holes. So if you want to mount an HP server or an IBM server, they normally need square holes. Some of the rails can be mounted on both, but anyway, for a big server, these racks are too short. So if you want to put the server in, you probably have to set the vertical rail somewhere here, but then the back cover here gets too close, the back door. However, it is made for this system and not really useful for anything else. Oh, I just see I forgot some of the ties. Two more for my collection. Okay, let's have a look at the power. That's the power input. American style 250 volt connector up to 30 amps. That's the high voltage, high current version. Goes to the input box with the main switch here that is accessible through a cutout, which is currently closed with this cover. Then we have two outputs going to one of these power strips here. They have their own power on and off switch. 1, 2, 3. Yes, it's divided in 3 sections. Then the other one goes to an identical power strip here. And then we have the same configuration on the other side. Also input box, big connector, for which we need an adapter cable, of course, here in Europe, but that's not a problem. It comes with the system. Okay, let's have a look into the storage controllers. Well, it's sad, it looks like new, but no one has ever touched it, so they built it together. It worked for a couple of years, and now its lifetime is over. So what do we have here? Fans, power supply combined. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I know I'm putting it the wrong side up, so if you try to put it in this way, it won't work. Then we have, okay, that's one controller module. And that's the other controller module. What do we have? There is a door, and I bet there are some rams underneath. Yes, they are. How big are they? How old are they? We have 8 gigabytes PC3 12800R registered. Okay, that's not bad, 8 gig. Then we have another 8 here, I'm pretty sure, yes. And a third 8 gig, yes, that's 24. And here we have a different model. It's only 4. And 4 and 4, that is 12. 24, 12, 20, 34, 36. 36 gigabyte of cache RAM. That's only the cache for, well, for I/O operations, reading and writing. We have 2 thingers that close the air gap. Okay. When you remove or when you plug in that, no, from this side. So that's where the power supply and fan unit goes. And if you take it out, this door here closes to prevent air going into the wrong direction, blowing out here instead of pushing in or whatever it does. So what I see, there is a big cooler here on the back side. Let's see what CPU we have. Okay, I forgot to remove the handle screws here, and now it slides a little bit forward. And then it lifts off. Yep. Okay. Quite a nice heat pipe. Yeah. Sometimes I have to get the right words. So let's see what processor we have underneath here. Looks pretty big. Okay, maybe not that big. Looks like a Xeon processor. Let me guess, probably an E56 series. Let's remove that. Let's clean that shmoo away. What is it? Need my glasses. E5620, 2.4 gigahertz, 12 meg cache. How many cores? You can look for yourself. There are data sheets around. Okay, I think next step will be to really get all these SSD drives. They seem to be very interesting. It seems I have 16 SSD drives right now, each one 56 gigabytes in size, and for free. And it was a surprise to find them here, so I didn't know that these controllers have internal disk drives for booting, but now I know it, and you know it too. A funny fact about the RAM, the 8 GB modules is a 12,800 speed, and that's only a 10,600. So they're mixing speeds. I guess the system runs on 10,600 and they updated it with bigger RAMs, and they didn't have the right speed, so they took the faster version, which is now inside this controller running at 10,600 megabytes per second. Well, and that's the cooler, made for a Xeon E65 family processor with 4 heat pipes. That's pretty much, and they are big diameter heat pipes going into that heat sink here, and the fans of course blow the entire air through that. So that's certainly a pretty good cooling solution. Made in China, Foxconn, where else, what else? I just found a new method to remove the battery here. It's a little bit tricky because you can't really reach it, even with some tools. Maybe there is a special tool for that, so I bent that connector around, and then I simply let gravitation work, like so. Battery out. By the way, we have not seen what's on the back side of the controllers. So there are 4 fiber channel ports. Here is the camera. 4 fiber channel ports. It seems 2 have been used. They have how fast is it? 8 gig, okay, 8 gigabit fiber channels. Okay, that's just like a normal fiber channel controller, probably a PCI Express bus on this side. That's the same, 4-port fiber channel, and another one, and another one. So that makes 16 fiber channel ports per one controller module. That's an universal I/O module. There are 2 serial ports, one that connects to the UPS module, one for the service technician. There is also an USB port. Don't know, it was not connected, they probably don't need that. That's the service Ethernet port, and that's another Ethernet port here. Maybe not for service, for the normal operation. They both have been connected. Then we may have a look at these UPS battery modules. But we can remove this one. Oh yeah. There's one more screw. And another one. Yep, that's it. So, stop, 29 kilos. Lift may be required. Okay, I don't have a lift. Okay, that's probably... Wow, lead batteries. Well, these power supply boxes are still the same as in the older systems, so if I remember right, I only have to remove the 4 screws here. And 2 screws on the other end. Okay, and 4 more screws here. Yes. We have 3 pretty big lead acid batteries. I'm pretty sure they are 12 volt and have about 17 amp hours. 3 probably in series makes 36 volts. And then there is a DC converter that makes the 230 volt output here. Okay, there is something special about these power supplies, this EMC. When they are on backup, that means when they are run on battery, they have an output of 250 volt DC, 2200 watt, and on standby, that means when power is normal and they just have a relay that clicks it through, then the output is 220 to 240 AC. And the reason for that is the electronics is much simpler, because you just need a DC converter. It doesn't matter if it's sine wave or rectangular or whatever, and it's not important what frequency you use, so you can take a much higher frequency, smaller transformers, a rectifier, and then you have a DC output. And most switch mode DC power switch mode power supply run on AC and DC. And of course these power supplies here are designed to run AC and DC, but also a normal PC power supply could probably work on DC, because the first step is to rectify AC voltage and then it's DC anyway. So if you go to a rectifier with DC, the output is still DC. So there are certainly a couple of power supplies that won't work this way, but a normal standard power supply would probably work. So I created quite a mess. I think I will take out a couple of more things. For example, the small UPS here look interesting for a little communications rack, for example, 1 or 2 switches. Oh, there's a server. I think I have to look inside that. Could probably be interesting. Why not? You know what? Let's see if this thing still works after years of storage. There is a green light. There are all the lights turning on. Maybe we see it better that way. It's yellow. That means bad battery. Okay. Yeah. No wonder after standing 2 or 3 years in the basement, these batteries are probably all bad. Lead acid battery don't like it to be depleted completely and then put in storage. They need to be charged from time to time. Maybe we probably get 1 or 2 of these units working, maybe not. We will see. And it goes off immediately. So normally if you pull the plug, it should switch to standby mode and supply power until the controller tells it to shut down. Well, let's see the server. That's a cute little server. So let's see what's inside. 1 screw. Is that enough? Yeah. Now there is one underneath the label, of course, and we just broke the warranty label. Warranty void if removed. I did not remove the label, so it's still warranty. I only removed the screw. Still not open. No, there's another one. And another one. And another one. No, I think that's it. Okay. What do we have? We have 1 disk for the operating system. There is space for a 2nd disk. Standard SATA connectors, 2 blowers, good blowers from Sanyo. Okay, it looks like a quality thing. We have a CD, DVD, everything, burner, recorder, everything. It can do everything except Blu-ray. Okay, is that true? No Blu-ray? Okay, we don't need Blu-ray. So we have 4 gigabytes of RAM. Wow. Well, it's just a management server. There are only a couple of programs running. Maybe there is a Windows or maybe even some sort of Linux working. We have a power supply with 2 fans. That's great. Delta, okay, well-known brand. 350 watts. We have one processor, we have a gigabit Ethernet card, a couple of slots that cannot be used because it's only that high, so you need an angle adapter like this. Is that already PCI Express? Looks like. It has a serial port, yeah, that looks like PCI Express. There is another one which cannot be used because this card is in the way. So it's probably a bit hard to install more than one card inside this cabinet, but if you take the same mainboard in a bigger housing, that will probably work. Okay, what CPU do we have? Let me guess, E56 something. Let's have a look. Yeah, no, it's a Core Duo, 3 GHz. Okay, not a Xeon processor, it's just a Core Duo. But which one? An E8400. Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. Okay, let's reinstall that heatsink. A little bit compound here and 4 small dots in the corners. Okay. It goes that way. Okay, just like new. So let's turn it on and look what happens. SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, yeah, what I expected. They always take Linux because it's free. They don't have to pay royalty to Microsoft or someone else. Yeah, starts up. No CD in the drive, no CD. I wonder how big the hard drive is, I don't know. It's upside down, can't see it. And I don't want to remove it right now. Okay, I think that's enough. It's Linux and we can't get in anyway because I don't know the password. And last but not least, there is one of the small UPS, and this has a feature that I have never seen before. It has 2 inputs and 2 outputs. So 2 outputs is not so special, but having 2 inputs with 2 green LEDs, main and aux. There is aux, there is main. So that's good if you have devices with redundant power supply. You have 2 inputs to your UPS. Well, in fact, it's not that good, because if the UPS fails, both power supply will fail. Apropos power supply fail, my camera battery was almost empty, only 3 minutes left, but I switched to the power supply now. That's why the cable hangs around here. So, where was I? If you have a device with 2 power supplies and you connect both to the UPS, you have a problem when the UPS fails, because both power supplies will be dead. So normally, if you have a server, you connect one power supply directly to the mains and the other to the UPS. So if the mains fails, you still have the UPS, and if the UPS fails, you still have the mains. If the mains and the UPS fails, well then, bad luck. This power supply comes from Emerson. It's called network power, and that makes sense because it only has 350 watts. That's enough for a couple of switches, but not enough for servers. So I turn it on, a couple of seconds. It starts blinking. That means it gets ready. Then it does a battery test. It runs now on battery, and if the battery holds and if they are good, it will switch to normal operation like now. So it seems the battery of this device are still okay. Maybe not the best, but at least good enough to pass the self-test. Okay, and I think that was it. I'm hungry, I want to go home. It's time to leave this mess here. So now I have to clean up that a little bit, because next morning they shouldn't struggle over this stuff. And that's it. The rack go to recycling. Most of the parts go to recycling. A few components I will keep for later use, and yeah, it's sad, but that's how it goes. Thanks for watching.